Drama continues over President Trump's top national security advisors planning out the strike in Yemen on a group chat that inadvertently included a journalist. Now, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, is under fire with a Democratic congressman asking if he had been drinking before the chat. Now Republicans are hitting back.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's friends are rallying around him today after a U.S. congressman suggested he was drinking when he texted detailed military information in that leaked group chat.
Hello there. Recent developments have seen the jazz world split in two by a new wave of musicians calling themselves disc jockeys. Those in favor describe the phenomena as a fresh rush of blood in the aging corpse of music. Those against prefer the term emperor's new clothes. Tonight you may judge for yourselves as we bring you the Propeller Heads, who together with the legendary Shirley Bassey play their arrangement, History Repeating.
The word is about. There's something evolving. Whatever may come, the world keeps revolving. They say the next big thing is here, that the revolution's near. But to me it seems quite clear that it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Gossip in wartime is dangerous. Something about the destination of a regiment. And she speaks it by telephone. Maybe it's useful to the enemy, disclosing troop movements.
Does anyone else think Mark Dugan is low-key hot with that haircut?
Oh my God, yes. Glow up vibes.
FYI, green light on Yemen raid. Tomahawks airborne 15 minutes ago. Who's ready to glass some Houthi rebels? Flag emoji, flag emoji, flag emoji, flag emoji, flag emoji, fire emoji, eggplant.
Lucifer, I've been looking all over for you.
Through here, go.
So what happened?
It was terrible, brother. I was kidnapped.
No, Lucy. I meant Mom.
Ah. Well, didn't you get my text?
What, you mean a string of nonsensical emojis? Fire, sword, donut, spaceman, clock, dancing lady, flashlight, thumbs up. How am I supposed to know what that means?
I ignited the flaming sword, used it to cut a hole in space and time. Mum's light flooded through it, then it closed up behind her. All good.
Gossip may circulate valuable military information to be picked up by spies. For example, barroom chatter concerning the movements of ships may give an illuminating tip to enemy intelligence, enabling them to figure dispensation of the fleet.
There is faction, there is fact. Some is good, some is bad. And the joke is rather sad, that it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On April 26th, 19,000 more documents related to the Kennedy assassination were released, giving conspiracy theorists and history enthusiasts something to obsess over for a few days. The only problem is, this batch is kind of boring. There's not much there except for an interesting 1975 interview with CIA counterintelligence chief James Angleton, who believed two New York Times journalists, Ted Salk, now dead, and Seymour Hersh, still living and writing, were actually working for a foreign intelligence service.
The government has released those new files, they say, tied to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, something President Donald Trump said he would do today. JFK, as you know, was assassinated in Dallas 61 years ago. Our Steve Pickett today with the man who has literally read through thousands of the assassination records and his take on if this new release will reveal anything new.
On this blustery Tuesday, Dallas's most visited spot fared few tourists who yearned to stand where a presidency fell where a president died.
Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy, and Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln. So, in rapid-fire succession, here's the truth and fiction to several of the claims about these two presidents. 1. Let's start with that one, the secretaries. False. While JFK did have a secretary named Evelyn Lincoln, Lincoln's secretaries were named John G. Nicolay and John Hay. 2. Lincoln was shot in Ford's Theater, and Kennedy was shot in a Lincoln, which was made by Ford. True. The vehicle Kennedy was shot in was an SS-100X, a beefed-up 1961 Lincoln Continental. 3. John Wilkes Booth was born in 1839, and Lee Harvey Oswald was born in 1939. False. Booth was born in 1838. 4. Both the Lincolns and the Kennedys lost children while in the White House. True. Willie Lincoln died of typhoid in 1862, while Jackie Kennedy gave birth to a premature child who died in 1963. 5. John Wilkes Booth ran from a theater and was caught in a warehouse, while Lee Harvey Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater. False. Booth did run from a theater, but was killed instead in a tobacco shed. 6. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808, while Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. True. 7. Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846, while Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946. True. 8. Lincoln was elected president in 1860, while Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Yes, again, true. 9. The names Lincoln and Kennedy each contain 7 letters, which is true even though, come on guys, it's a bit of a stretch. 10. Both presidents were shot in the head on a Friday. True. 11. Both assassins were killed before they could stand trial. True. 12. Lastly, Lincoln was in Monroe, Maryland a month before his assassination, while Kennedy was in Maryland, Monroe a month before his assassination.
We must commit ourselves to unconditional victory against them.
There's lots of buzz over Rudy Giuliani's impassioned speech at the Republican National Convention.
There's no black America. There's no white America. There is just America.
Now look what we've uncovered. It's Giuliani showing his softer side dressed in drag in a comedy skit with Donald Trump.
You know, you're really beautiful.
The spoof was filmed 16 years ago when Giuliani was mayor of New York for a charity dinner, so it was all in good fun.
Oh, you dirty boy, you! Oh!
And now for the next 30 minutes, As the World Turns.
For viewers of the CBS soap opera, As the World Turns, first word came at about 1:40 p.m. Eastern Time. It happened too quickly for cameras to be in place.
And I gave it a great deal of thought, Grandpa.
Here is a bulletin from CBS News. In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
Then it was back to the soap opera, but not for long. Soon after, Walter Cronkite was back, reporting from the CBS newsroom, complete with rotary telephones and wire machines.
This picture has just been transmitted by wire. It is a picture taken just a moment or two before the incident. If you can zoom in with that camera, we can get a closer look at this picture.
And almost exactly 1 hour after his initial bulletin, this now famous announcement.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago. Vice President Lyndon Johnson has left the hospital in Dallas, but we do not know to where he has proceeded. Presumably, he will be taking the oath of office shortly and become the 36th President of the United States.
When law-abiding citizens are forced to live in fear, we look for protection to one man. Lieutenant Frank Drebin is back. This time, he's going undercover in the big house.
Where's your prison number?
It's unlisted. And playing the deadliest game of all.
That damn blue! Go get your head out of my pocket!
But Police Squad desperately needs him back because a mad bomber is about to blow up Hollywood's biggest bash. And if anyone can stop him, so can Frank.
Hold on. Sergeant Frank Drebin, Detective Lieutenant Police Squad.
Yeah, and I'm Robert De Niro.
Mr. De Niro, we've got to get inside.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present the...
We're here to prevent a disaster.
You're too late for that.
That's the guy!
Starring Leslie Nielsen as Lieutenant Frank Drebin. Priscilla Presley as Jane. Anna Nicole Smith as Tanya. Fred Ward as Rocco.
Freeze and nobody gets hurt.
Well, from now on.
Anna Nicole Smith as Tanya. George Kennedy as Ed. O.J. Simpson as Nordberg. And introducing Anna Nicole Smith as Tanya.
Have you seen my pigeon?
Naked Gun 33 1/3. The final insult.
Elon Musk's artificial intelligence startup xAI has bought his social media platform X. Since both of Musk's companies are privately held, they aren't required to publicly share their finances. However, the businessman says the sale between the two companies is valuated at $33 billion. The San Francisco Chronicle reports the $45 billion deal covered the $12 billion in debt X had.
As much as we want this to be true, false. Marilyn Monroe had tragically passed away more than a year before Kennedy was killed.
A Dutch beer company puts to rest conspiracies about dead celebrities.
Hi, Elvis.
I'm Mara Montalbano for Buzz 60. If you're one of those people who hopes Elvis is still alive, Bavaria Beer is on your side. Somewhere in paradise, celebs like Marilyn Monroe, Tupac, Kurt Cobain, and John Lennon are pictured alive and well, enjoying a paparazzi-free existence, spending their days taking in the sun and enjoying an endless supply of Bavaria Radler. Maybe they really are in heaven, but if anyone is hoping they'll rejoin the living and put on one hell of a show, you'll be disappointed to know they don't miss the old days. The commercial has a lot of cheese to go along with the beer. It's not very flattering to the celebrities, who it seems would not have aged well. Let's hope the beer Bavaria makes is better than its sense of humor. Buzz 60. Now you know. Pass it on.
Rumor is recognized as a grave danger to a nation at war. It may cause all sorts of harm, like whispering tales of panic. Did you hear about this or that? Unfounded yarns about fears or disasters are insidious. The barbershop is traditional for random talk, which can be an aid to the enemy in a time when lips should all be locked.
To your knowledge, do you know whether Pete Hegseth had been drinking before he leaked classified information?
I don't have any knowledge of Secretary Hegseth's personal habits.
I think that's an offensive line of questioning. The answer is no. I find it interesting that you want to... I'm going to answer... You asked me a question.
I think that's egregious. Outrageous.
The suggestion is sparking outrage from Hegseth's former colleagues at Fox News.
To make something up out of thin air, no evidence to prove it.
Before his confirmation, Hegseth had faced accusations from unidentified former co-workers claiming he had a drinking problem.
I could not have written Ready Player One if I had not grown up on a steady diet of Steven Spielberg movies. It would have been a different story, or I might not have written it at all. His work is woven into the fabric of my life. Everybody, I think, who dreams of making movies dreams of getting to work with him. It's a dream come true.
As we get started with the dissection,
XWVUALT, that is incorrect.
The correct spelling of nuisance is N-U-I-S-A-N.
Which he denied.
This is not the first thing he has screwed up. They put somebody in charge of the Defense Department that is unqualified for the job.
Should Secretary Hegseth consider his position?
Hegseth is doing a great job. He had nothing to do with this.
The president is making it clear he's sticking with Pete.
Hegseth. How do you bring Hegseth into it? He had nothing to do. Look, it's all a witch hunt.
So, global crisis averted?
Yes, for now. So we can talk about Caligula, Stalin, Trump. I mean, I know he's not dead, but he's definitely going.
Barack and I were raised with so many of the same values. Like, you work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're gonna do.
My parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things they aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
That you treat people with dignity and respect, even if you don't know them and even if you don't agree with them.
That you treat people with respect. They thought and showed me values and morals in their daily life. That is a lesson that I continue to pass along to our son. And we need to pass those lessons on to the many generations to follow. Many of you missed your prom, sporting events, and celebration with your friends, but you were quick to find new ways to stay connected and active while remaining focused on finishing your education. You proved to the entire world that you can set your mind to something important, push through and succeed, showing all of us that you, our next generation, already possess the
to build lives guided by these values and to pass them on to the next generation, because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Weatherman Phil Connors is spending the day in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania.
Phil? Ned Ryerson. I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show.
Bing!
Bing!
But Phil's about to find out he's not just stuck in Puxatawney.
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
Chance of departure today, 100%.
He's stuck
Groundhog Day!
in Groundhog Day.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
Phil?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again?
At first, he was a little anxious.
Phil? What?
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
I'd say the chance of departure is 80%.
But now,
we could do whatever we want.
he's discovering the possibilities.
Don't you worry about cholesterol?
Why?
And living life like there's no tomorrow.
Phil Connors!
Ned!
Because there is isn't.
I am an immortal. I have been stabbed, shot, burned, frozen, electrocuted. I'm a god.
From another time comes a man of great power.
You talk funny, Nash. Where are you from?
Lots of different places. A warrior of incredible strength.
You've the devil in you.
We've been kinsmen 20 years.
Connor MacLeod was my kinsman. I don't know who you are.
Because you were born different, men will fear you, try to drive you away.
A man uncertain of his future.
What you got here, Brenda, is a guy who's been creeping around since at least 1700.
It's not possible.
And haunted by his past.
To the states now, where we know that Trump's picks for his top roles have been causing eye rolls and a lot of angst. But perhaps none are more bizarre than this one. Education Secretary. He's chosen Linda McMahon, who has no education background whatsoever, and perhaps she won't need it because, as we know, Trump has famously promised he's going to get rid of the education department at a federal level and leave it back to the states. What a great idea. If only we did the same thing here. Why do we need a federal educational department as well as each state having an educational department? Riddle me that. Well, Trump's decided he's sick of this nonsense and he's dedicated to cutting the fat in Washington. So he's chosen this woman, Linda McMahon, who hails from, of all places, the World Wrestling Entertainment, where she has been the CEO for some years.
Wait a minute, Nash. I want some answers.
You cannot die, MacLeod.
I am Conor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I was born in 1518 in the village of Glenfinnan on the shores of Loch Shiel.
You're God.
I'm a god. I'm not the god.
He's out of his gourd.
But to get what his heart wants most
What are you looking for, Phil? A date for the weekend?
means living this day over again till he gets it right.
Believe it or not, I studied 19th century French poetry.
What a waste of time.
I studied 19th century French poetry.
La fille qui j'aimerais.
You speak French?
I am immortal.
A hero who is about to face his greatest challenge.
You will always be weaker than I.
What can you tell me about a 7-foot lunatic hacking away with a broadsword at 1 o'clock in the morning, New York City, 1985?
Not much, for he is not alone.
In the end, there can be only one.
Bill Murray, Andy McDowell.
To the groundhog.
I always drink to world peace.
Hey, is Zone here yet?
For the millionth time, no. I will budge you the second he gets here. Jeez, I've never seen you so excited. You're like a little girl the morning her brother gets out of jail for beating up a cop. Or Christmas morning.
Michael Faraday!
This is like stepping back in time.
The past is prologue, Michael. Men like us have to keep looking to the future.
Well, what should we drink to?
I like to say a prayer and drink to world peace.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
He might be okay.
Yes!
Life has a funny way of repeating itself.
What did you do today?
Oh, same old, same old.
be only one.
You know, I've been going over this Millennium Project proposal. There's some great stuff in here. I do think you should tone down the Armageddon end of days rhetoric.
No need to worry, Michael. I have some good news. I'm the Messiah.
That's a good joke. That's great. You start with that, you keep them light.
No, Michael. I'm serious. The chosen one, the King of Kings, the Alpha and the Omega. You're looking at him.
I am the chosen one.
Look, Owen, if this is some kind of joke, let me just say, good one. I get it. That's,
I'm as shocked as you are, believe me. I'm as shocked as you are, believe me. This is a big responsibility. I mean, look at this.
Things to do. Banish Satan and the forces of evil. Build the New Jerusalem. Buy milk.
Milk. I keep forgetting to pick up milk.
Oh, and you can't be serious.
Look, Michael, I know I'm supposed to be able to do this all by myself, being the Son of God and all. I know I'm supposed to be able to do this all by myself, being the Son of God and all, but I'm feeling a lot of pressure. So I was thinking, maybe you could help me.
Well, you want me to help you, what, banish Satan and establish God's kingdom on earth?
If you're not too busy.
Listen, I have kind of a pressing appointment, but I thought you might run into a roadblock, so I asked someone to drop by. Oh,
Mike?
Sir?
Donald.
Mr. Trump here wrote The Art of the Deal. Then he wrote a new bestseller, The Art of the Comeback.
2 books. Wow. Well, sit down. Well, that must have been tough coming up with that much material.
No.
It's been hard getting started, though, right?
First day, 9 chapters.
9 chapters.
You should call your next book The Art of Not Helping.
But perhaps with all your jetting around, you have not had chance to peruse today's headlines. I rather like the last one. It isn't even mine.
I never believe what I read in the press anyway.
Therein lies your problem, Mr. Bond. You see, we're both men of action, but your era and Miss Lynn's is passing. Words are the new weapons. Satellites, the new artillery.
And you become the new Supreme Allied Commander?
Exactly. Caesar had his legions, Napoleon had his armies. I have my divisions. TV, news, magazines. And by midnight tonight, I'll have reached and influenced more people than anyone in the history of this planet, save God himself. And the best he ever managed was a Sermon on the Mount.
You really are quite insane.
The distance between insanity and genius is measured only by success.
We're in position between the fleets.
Fire 1 missile at the flagship of each fleet. The Chinese will think the British are rattling the saber. The British will think the Chinese are being belligerent. And the media will provide cool, objective coverage. Let the mayhem begin. What you're about to witness, Miss Lynn, is not so much a missile attack, but the launch of a new world order. In precisely 5 minutes after your countrymen have attacked the British fleet, I shall retaliate for dear old England by sending this missile into Beijing. But General Chang has just called an emergency meeting of the Chinese High Command. Unfortunately, General Chang will be delayed in traffic, arriving just after the missile has killed your leaders, and too late to stop the Air Force from sinking the entire British fleet. But he will be just in time to take over the government, negotiate a truce, and emerge as a world leader. for the Nobel Peace Prize.
What do you get?
Me? Oh, nothing. Just exclusive broadcasting rights in China for the next 100 years. How romantic. Don't you realize how absurd your position is?
No more absurd than starting a war for ratings.
Great men have always manipulated the media to save the world. Look at William Randolph Hearst, who told his photographers, "You provide the pictures, I'll provide the war."
The Vice President-elect, extreme left of that picture. There'll be discussions there with the CEO and chair of the New York Stock Exchange. Also present is the CEO of Time magazine, Jessica Sibley. They'll do this for a few minutes, Kamali. Then there'll be the ringing of the bell, the symbolic ringing of the bell at 9:30. Quite something for listed companies. It's a ceremonial ringing. Happens every day at 9:30. Companies enjoy the privilege. It gives them a chance to establish their brand and create a prominence around their company. Then Donald Trump, having rung the bell, will sign the guest book, a guest book that's been signed since this all started. 1927 is when they began with the Time Person of the Year. And people who've been awarded this include Winston Churchill, Queen Elizabeth II over the years, also Vladimir Putin and Joseph Stalin. Last year it was awarded to Taylor Swift. So there you go, the bell ringing taking place without a hitch. And Donald Trump now looking up at the Time branding, the prestigious branding of a prestigious award, in the company there of Jeff Sprecher to his right. He's the chair and the chair of the New York Stock Exchange, posing for a selfie with the president-elect and the first lady-elect.
Never what they seem. Try not to understand, because it is impossible.
It's going to get more and more overtly occult as these things develop. I mean, Burning Man's totally in-your-face occult. I mean, that's just flat out, we're witches, we're here, we're New Age, we're here to work witchcraft. We're gathering together because there's more power. You know, this has been almost like programming that's been put into humanity's mind for a long time. Now it's more of a manifestation of this. This is just so far off the scale where this world is heading. The amount of time, effort, money that is being expended by Satan and his minions to implement his agenda.
a future that Ernest Cline, the writer of the book, envisioned. I was very careful with Ernie collaborating with me every step of the way to be able to find the movie narrative inside this dense forest of Ernie's profound imagination.
The Oasis being the ultimate toy box with all the toys in the world, and then playing that with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. It results in just amazing action and such a fun adventure.
Ernest Cline is such a visionary, and I think has seen the future before any of us possibly could even imagine it.